She didn't help me realize it. She introduced me to that world briefly. I kind of discovered it on my own after that. And she took me to my first gay bar, but at the time I didn't know what it was. I was still in high school. I think I was 17 or something. I just knew that I was different. I didn't know how I was different from other people. It wasn't just being gay, though, that made me different. It was also the artist in me, I think, that made me a little bit different from other people. As time went on, and when I moved to New York, then there were lots of gay people around. But as far as discovering it, I discovered that myself in college, when I was a dancer, and you meet other dancers who are gay, which is one of the weird things about this last show, Confessions Tour. None of her dancers were gay. And I don't know how that's possible, to have all those guys and not one dancer is gay. It's very strange.
Is it Kabbalah or gay ritual?
It's not Kabbalah. It could be partly guy. Also, I think what's happened with the background people in the background, instead of having different personalities, they've all sort of become the same. You know what I mean? When we worked together, I did my best to choose people who weren't necessarily the best dancers, but had something really interesting about them personally. So individually, they were fascinating to watch, and as a group, not just a homogenous cutout of a dancer that can jump high. It's boring to me. It depends on what time period you mean. I mean, early on, we'd all just sort of dance. It was no big deal. There was no crowds in the beginning. Later on, a crowd would form around. And I mean, there's one great moment it wasn't in a gay bar, but it was at the Oscar party, at Vanity Fair's Oscar party, and we danced together. And it was a great moment. It was one of those moments that rarely happen. Everything just it was a salsa band playing, a Latin band, and I asked her if she wanted to dance, and we started dancing, and the floor cleared, and everyone just sort of watched, and it was a really cool feeling. Last good time I had with her. That going to the gay bars, we did that. Warren Beatty loved to go to gay bars, so we often went with him, and he would sit in the chair and watch and laugh, and we would just dance, so it was usually pretty good, unless the gay boys got a little out of hand and you couldn't dance. It was but I got very good at making a space and keeping it. It's a skill. Well, both of us, so we could dance, so there was room to dance, because we went out to go dance, not to talk to people. It was a problem for me because she did it with such carelessness and didn't say anything. And for me, that's a private matter. When I'm ready to say it, I'll say it. It wasn't that people in New York and my friends in New York knew, but my grandmother didn't know, and my cousins and the rest of the world, frankly, didn't know for sure one way or the other. And it wasn't none of her business to say that. That part made me angry. But when she couldn't understand why I was angry, that made me more angry.
She was not sorry at all?
No. It just was like, well, you're gay, right? And I'm like, yeah, but that's not the point. This is none of your business, This is what I mean about the things you do and the things you say don't just disappear into the world. They affect other people's lives, and I wasn't prepared to deal with that. No, probably less. I'm just really careful about who I come in contact with. And I certainly don't use her to get laid. I've never done that, you know. Hi, I'm Madonna's brother. No. I was in a relationship for 10 years, for most of my young adult life. And I mean, I didn't have my first one-night stand until I was 34. So, you know, it took me, I explored a lot later than most people. I mean, it would be weird to do that. It would be like having sex with her in the room, you know? Which is why I couldn't do it with that guy. So.
It was fun.
Yeah, well, it was even weirder to be in that situation, so.
I guess so.
I mean, imagine a picture. Do you have a sister?
No.
Ah, okay, well. Imagine your mother. A poster of your mother looking down at you.
Yeah, she's not famous.
It doesn't matter. Could you have sex in a room with a guy with a life-size poster of your mother standing over your bed? You're thinking about this. You have done it.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. I think it gave her more access to stuff. I don't know. And it made, well, my being gay gave her a little bit more credibility with homosexuals. You know, it wasn't a bad thing to have a gay brother. It did, you know, gave her street credibility, you know what I mean? So it was affected that way, but otherwise, I don't know. No.
Why not?
Because first of all, I've never looked at him that way. He's my sister's husband. You're asking the wrong person. No, period. No, I don't.
What is the worst?
Well, I mean, I've been on a few dates lately, but I have, for the most part, been on the road traveling. So, and you know, I don't have time to go out and meet people. So, if I go on a date, it's with somebody who's just interviewed me.